We're going to talk about the story of rage to bliss and what there is to do to really be able to transform on a soul level, not a surface level, not a let's slap some positivity on the top, but to actually be able to be with and move into one state into another. And this is my day today, FYI. And to give a spoiler, it really isn't about doing anything. It all gets to be incredibly simple when we know there isn't anything to do. If anything, it's an undoing, right? But let me speak about my day to make it a practical, useful application of not doing. Because what does that even mean, right? I think especially if you're in the game of transformation, there's that little shadow piece, that super helper that wants to come in and get into the transformation element, right? Oh, I've got a feeling, go in and transform that. I have my tools. And we get into doing. And I have done this in the past also. I did this today to a certain degree, and it allowed a new level of awareness for me to open up. And I'm sure I'll have plenty more. And I love that about this journey. So I was raging today. Raging. Which isn't like me. Rage is not anger, is not something that I have felt comfortable with. I've not allowed myself to feel anger. I'm not necessarily consciously either, but anger is not one that really was experienced in my system. I would get upset, I would feel frustration, I would feel sadness, but frustration was really as much as it got. When I tipped into anger, it was like this switch just got flipped, and I would get into more of the sadness spectrum. So I'm distracted by my jingle. I wonder if you can hear that. So I started to feel rage today, and not because there was anything going on in my day, in my life. Things weren't going wrong. There weren't extra demands on me. It's a relatively easeful and lovely day, quite frankly. And I'm with my kids, and we're playing and we're doing some things. And I ask them to do something and they don't do it. And it was like, rage, so angry. They're not listening to me. And I felt really angry. Now, I actually kind of loved that, which is what I teach. So that's amazing, right? But there was also like, okay, I have a tool for this. Now I do an energy practice, a Kriya practice for any Kundalini yoga people out there. And it's basically moving our body and our breath with intention to invite certain energies in or to transform energies, right? So I was doing the 3 minutes of this, like breathing, getting the anger out. And I did that when I noticed I was feeling frustrated. I was only frustrated at this point. did this practice, got back into playing. It's 3 minutes, it was very workable with the day. But then this anger, it was like, huh, okay. And I realized that actually I didn't need to transform that anger. I didn't want to suppress it. I didn't want to leak it. Those are two things that were really important because I'm celebrating the experience of anger in my system, right? I'm like, feeling angry. That's great. Might sound a little bit weird, but because I haven't allowed myself the experience of anger, I know it's here. It's here, right? In my body. It lives here. So when it's coming up, I'm like, okay, well, I want this to come up. I want this to be experienced, but to not leak. In other words, I don't want to snap at my children or explode in any way, shape, or form, although I felt like I could scream. And there's times that I've gone and I've taken that energy and I've put it into a pillow but today, I named it with my kids. Mum's experiencing some anger right now. As we're playing, right? Like, my children are used to that level of transparency and ownership. And it's in the energy of, here's my experience. Experiencing some anger right now. Knowing there was nothing to do with it. I'm feeling it. I'm just feeling it. And I would get outside. And it just dissipates. Not because I'm pushing it away. Not because it had to be expressed in this big way and exploded out. And there's value in that, right? This is me sharing a certain process I went through today. It's not because this is the way to do it. And like I said, it's like this new embodied understanding of like, there's really nothing to do. There's nothing to do. When you can operate your life through a level of presence, which says, okay, here's a feeling. Here's a feeling. There isn't anything for me to do with that feeling except feel it. And we can take 5 minutes, or we can do the Kriya practices, or we can do the shaking it out and getting into different states. And sometimes that feeling hasn't completed. And so it comes back, and that's not wrong. I guess that's the real piece of this, right? We can do the breath work. We can do the deep breathing. We can do all of the things that you might have in your toolbox to transform. And sometimes all there is to do is to just be with it, to hold it, and to trust the innate power that you have. You don't need to logic your way through anything. There's nothing to action your way through. It just passes on its own. And the energy I feel in my system now, and I can't even tell you the exact moment that it clicked in. Couldn't tell you, because I was just in my day, being with all of me, not making any of it wrong, knowing there was nothing to do, being in connection with my kids. And I had one of the proudest mum moments that I've had. Not really, but just these little moments as a parent where your children mirror back to you something. So my son and I were watching Harry Potter, and Sirius was talking about how nobody's good and nobody's bad. We've all got a bit of light and we've all got a bit of dark, and it's the actions that define us, right? We're not defined. We get to choose. Something along these lines. My son turned to me and he said, "Mum, that's you." And then he had fun, putting the rest of the family into various Harry Potter characters. I was like, I will take that. I will take that, because we're all of it, right? We're all of it. And we get to choose the actions that come out of us, even as on the inside, fucking raging. Raging, really was, promise you. But you wouldn't have known that from me, not because I was suppressing it, but because I get to choose my actions, and because I've learned to love all of me, love the anger, nothing to do with it. I can be present, connected, in that state of overflow that we talk about, even in the emotions that are not the preferred ones. So I'll leave it there today. And as always, I'd love to hear what you have heard in this for you. If you have any questions, comments, questions, comment. It's quite late. Quite late at this point in the day. Then leave me some down below, and I will be back tomorrow with some more presents. Lots of love.